there's always going to be demand for land because they're not making any more. So in my previous video, we talked about what type of properties to avoid. But now let's talk about what type of properties hold their value the best in a market bust or a market boom. Because as we've clearly seen this year, freehold properties with backyards are the clear winner in terms of value over time, as they are the type of property that has appreciated much higher than any other property in Ontario, in the Canadian real estate market, and in other international real estate markets. But in 2012 and 2014, we saw condos pull some pretty solid appreciation rates because of modernized amenities in the buildings and total hands-free living. You're not mowing lawns and you're not fixing leaky roofs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, my name's Andreith. I'm a real estate agent here in Simcoe County. If you like this video or find it entertaining, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're curious for more real estate information that I'm associated with or content that I produce with it, details are in the description and more on me at the end of the video. Starting off, the type of property that is most likely to keep its value in any type of market, specifically in a market bust or a downward market, is the property that generally has the lowest amount of carrying costs. Simply put, if no one is living there, what does it cost month to month or year to year to keep this property under your ownership? For example, let's take a look at a freehold property over the span of 30 years and an apartment unit over the span of 30 years. The freehold property would likely have needed maybe some basement upgrades, basic upkeep like mowing the lawn, cleaning it from time to time, different things like that. But overall, you're not looking at tens of thousands of dollars in terms of just basic upkeep and maintaining the property. But if you look at the apartment unit over the span of 30 years, the condo fee just continues to go up year over year over year. And as apartment buildings get older and older, it's only going to keep going up. And although it might not cost $800 a month from every unit to maintain an apartment building, the older a building gets, the more they need to take and have in reserve just in case a major structural problem occurs and they have to get it fixed, and it's going to cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that you are paying because you are an apartment owner in that building. And especially in a downward market where maybe prices are going a little down or buyers have more control, the majority of purchasers are going to be looking to get into a property where they're not going to have to pay maintenance fees, mortgage fees, and taxes on top, all in a big monthly lump sum. They're probably going to gravitate towards freehold properties where they can move in, they have their mortgage, they have basic utilities, they have basic upkeep, but they can do that basic upkeep themselves. You're not paying a management corporation in a condo or an apartment building to mow the lawn and do these other things for you. Now, don't get me wrong, condos are awesome to live in. I lived in one myself, but for this specific situation, the appreciation rate of condos year over year largely depends on the amount of demand out there for it. If there are a lot of buyers that want hands-free living, then they're going to appreciate faster. But in March 2020, when it was really a downward market and real estate came to a halt, condos are the ones that took the biggest hit because of the restrictions and the high carrying cost for buyers to move into and purchase them. Number two is properties that have land. Houses and homes are expensive as it is. And for many clients and individuals that we worked with, especially in the later months of 2020 when the crazy real estate market was just starting, a comment that we heard all the time is, I want a house that has some land with it. Now, I'm not talking about having acres, but generally having a good sized backyard or front area holds its value well in any type of market. And what's pretty interesting to me, or something that I've noticed, let me know if you've noticed this as well in the comments down below, but new development properties and modern homes are seemingly getting bigger. The actual house either feels bigger or it is bigger. Maybe it's the 9-foot ceilings, but it seems like the land is getting smaller. I don't know if they're severing it differently, if the bylaws are permitting them to build the same style or bigger homes on less lots, but specifically in a new development in South Barrie, there are freehold towns where you get no land. You literally get a little portion out front and you have it's shared walls on the back, so you get no backyard with it. It's a beautiful modern 3-story townhouse, but there's no land with it. And it's pretty fair to say that if you're paying $500,000 to $1 million nowadays for any type of property in Ontario or in Canada, it's nice to get some dirt and soil with it, to have some land with your property, because what's the point of getting a house with no land with it? You might as well just go live in a condo or an apartment building, because there's always going to be a demand for land. That should be a quote. That's patented. You can't take that. There's always going to be demand for land because they're not making any more of it. And finally, type of property number 3 that is most likely to hold its value in a market bust or a market boom are properties where you can freely upgrade them and there aren't major restrictions for things like changing out finishes, changing the exterior color, or different things like that. As an example, let's say that you're looking to purchase a property that has a great backyard that backs out onto environmentally protected land. It'd be really smart in this case, and this goes down a little more into, the ins and outs of purchasing a property, but you want to check if that backyard encroaches or is environmentally protected as well, because you can have all this backyard space, but if this entire backyard, or if like 75% of it is also environmentally protected land, then you can't put a deck. You need like major permits to do anything, even like put like a barbecue there. You might need to get a permit or permission from the municipality, and that's something that's definitely not going to hold its value, because in a market bust, if you need to sell it, someone's going to say, well, it's a great backyard, but I can't do anything with it. And in this case, completely freehold properties are the winner. Again, you do have options where you have a freehold property with additional fees that has, you know, garbage collection, snow removal, different things like that. But sometimes there are restrictions. Maybe you can't paint your door red if you want to. They all have to be a consistent color. In this case, it's beneficial for you to look at a property where you can easily do whatever upgrades and designs that you want to. For example, in a condo, that's really, really tough to do. If you want to renovate the interior of your condo, which I did, by the way, it was such a huge hassle. You have to book the elevator every time. One time the appliances showed up late, then you have to cancel. You have to book 2 weeks later. You can't make any noise between like after 5 p.m. or whatever it might be. You have to manually get all the materials up. You have to take all the materials and recycle it elsewhere. You can't just get a bin on the property. There's so much stuff that goes into it. And if I had to jump through so many hoops and go through so much trouble just to renovate a 1+ den apartment in Mississauga, imagine in a market downturn where prices are slipping or it's a market bust and you need to sell. Buyers that are gonna be coming through are gonna look at this and say, okay, well, we need to update it. But then once they get into the conversation of how much extra work it's gonna require just to renovate a small unit, they're probably gonna move on to a freehold property where they can easily do those changes and design the property to suit their needs, as opposed to a condo corporation where there are, or a condo apartment where there are many, many restrictions for it. And the final thought that I want to mention here is that these are generally 3 characteristics of properties that hold their value the best in any type of market, but it definitely will depend, and you got to do your research before kind of crossing a condo completely off and just shopping freehold and looking at the pros and cons on the specific area that you live in. A great example for that is we have an area near Innisfil, or in Innisfil, called Friday Harbor. If you've never been there, it's a beautiful place, but those are all condos. Those are lakefront condos, and it's kind of like a recreational area and a touristy area. But if you were to purchase there, freehold properties are not what is appreciating the fastest. It is condos, because that is what is the most in-demand property, even though all around it, it's freehold properties that are the most in demand and have appreciated the most in the last year and a half. An easy way to verify this information is sitting down with your realtor or doing this research by yourself and looking at, say, the market in Canada or in your specific city in 2008. What was selling for more, freehold properties or condo properties? And what in that time frame to now, or whatever time frame you're looking at, has appreciated the most? Is it freehold or is it condos? Again, Friday Harbor, condos are probably going to be the ones that appreciated more, and in a downward market are going to be the ones that are going to keep their value in that specific market, as opposed to freehold properties, because that's not what people want in that area. So definitely keep those things in mind when you're shopping for your property. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in the Barrie or Simcoe area, hit my line down below. I reply to every single email, text message, and if I happen to miss your call, I will always call you back. I also put out a weekly market update for the city of Barrie. I might do Simcoe very soon, or I've been saying I'm going to do it soon, so I will at some point. But we look at the amount of new freehold listings, the amount of sold freehold listings, average days on market, average price for that week, new condo listings, sold condo listings, photo of the week, listing of the week, different things like that. So if you want to sign up to that, details or the link to sign up to that is in the description below. And check out one of these 2 videos here for some more awesome real estate content from me.